So here I am, my first semester, and I'm lost and scared. So I'm looking for inspiration. Who's my inspiration? And I'm looking in my classes, at my professors, and I'm thinking, over the first year, what inspired me over that time? And I realized it didn't take a year or 4 years. It actually only took 8 seconds. 8 seconds that changed my life. I want to tell you that story today. The very first couple of weeks of my time here at Bentley, I knew that I wanted to be involved in some sort of community service. So I went on a community service project through the Service Learning Center. And me and a few other students went to this low-income housing project in Waltham. And that day, I remember very clearly, we were shrubbing and painting and cleaning. The best part about that day was that a lot of the residents, in particular the children, would come out and help us and work with us. It was really nice to see them being appreciative and helping out. And I remember my favorite part of the day was lunchtime, where we could all sit down and talk to the children. Now I met this little girl, and she couldn't have been more than 10 years old. And whenever I meet a child for the first time, I ask 2 questions. Number 1, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? And number 2, what do you want to be when you grow up? I remember on that day, both of her answers surprised me. The first, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? She said mint chocolate chip. I mean, come on, mint chocolate chip? I don't know about that. The second answer changed my life. What do you want to be when you grow up? This little girl couldn't have been more than 10 years old. She looked me in the eye, and she said, well, I was watching Jerry Springer last week, and there were some strippers on the show. They were talking about how much money they make. I think that's what I'd want to be. So I don't even know what to say, right? Here's my very first time out in the Waltham community, and I hear something like that. So I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, I think that'd be enough money to get me and my mom out of here. And at that very moment after those 8 seconds, that's when I realized that college was more than about a 4.0. That college was more than about joining the right clubs. That college was more than about finding the right party on a Friday night. That college was more than about getting an A on the econ final. That college was more than about fitting in or standing out. Your college experience is about finding what makes you tick. What inspires you? What are you passionate about? So how did I respond that day when she told me that? After those 8 seconds? I'm not really sure what I said after that, but I do know how I responded in the long term. That encounter made me realize how much children need positive role models in their lives. And we as college students can be positive role models in the lives of children. So I thought back to my own experiences growing up, and I remember doing all of these team builders and leadership activities. I thought, wow, where are these children getting these activities? So I came up with this idea. 2 + 2 = 5. We work together as a team, can accomplish more than by working as individuals. 2 + 2 = 5. And so I created this program. It's actually a 10-week program where students here at Bentley can participate in through a course for academic credit, go into elementary schools in their phys ed classes and teach children about leadership, trust, problem solving, communication, diversity, emotional intelligence, all sorts of activities like that. And it started as a small program here at Bentley that I did once a week, and since then, it's grown far beyond what I could have ever expected. It's grown nationally. Just last fall, I was in Casper, Wyoming, teaching a bunch of college students and professionals there about 2 + 2 = 5. What does 2 + 2 = 5 mean to me? It means being a part of something bigger than yourself. And it also means being willing to learn from anyone. Not just your professors, but anyone. I learned so much from the 10 and 11-year-old children that I was teaching about teamwork that it could fit in a book. In fact, that's what I did. I wrote a book, and it's called What a CEO Can Learn from a Fourth Grader, because I realized how much they taught me. We can learn from anyone, from each other, from the community, from children, from the staff here, anyone. So I want to tell you a few stories about my time doing 2 + 2 = 5. How many of you have ever heard of or done a trust fall before? Anyone? All right, good number of you. So you know that a trust fall, when a person falls back from the stage or an elevated platform, and they fall back into the arms of the team. So we're doing the trust fall with 10-year-olds, okay? And this little boy, Alex, we're talking at the end of the program, and I always ask the question, where are these skills also important? Where's 2 + 2 = 5 also important? To get them thinking outside of their phys ed class. And one student raised their hand, and they said, at recess. So, all right, that's a good answer. Where else? Another student would raise their hand. They'd say, in a math team, in a math club. All right, another good answer. Anybody else? Another student raised their hand, and they said, on a soccer field. All right, perfect. Anybody else? And Alex, he raised his hand, and he said, at home. I said, all right, that's great. Why? Tell me more. I want to hear more. He said, I do some of these activities with my little sister.